So LEGO, after all this time, are finally stepping into the video game world, but there are so many games that LEGO just haven't touched. So in this video, I'm going to make 3 LEGO sets all based on video games we all know and love. I've ordered so many pieces for this video, so smash subscribe and maybe you can guess what's coming up. Unless you've been living under a rock, I'm pretty sure everybody at some point has played a Pokemon game. Whether it's the classic Game Boy version, the trading card game, or just catching Pokemon in the wild on Pokemon Go. For me, the classic games were always where it's at, my favourite being Pokemon Leaf Green. So I thought our first model could be something based on that game. Now, unlike a lot of the models we've done in the past, I want this one to be a little bit different. And that's because I don't want to make some generic field or a town. I want to make one of the most recognisable things from a Pokemon game, the Pokemon battles themselves. Now, the Pokemon are each standing on their own little circles, and that's exactly what I want to recreate. So of course, we're going to need a base, but I've never made a circular one before. But I do remember a while ago building the LEGO Tallneck set, and thought to myself the way they made their base was really interesting, and all we really need to do to make this how we want is make it a bit smaller. So breaking out the pieces, I started with a bunch of pieces called Snot Bricks. They're basically normal looking LEGO bricks, but with studs on the side as well as the top. We need this because the base is going to be built vertically, and we need some studs to place the ground on when we eventually lie this flat. Taking a look at the game, you can see from the battles these circles are actually quite flat in Leaf Green, and I want to make this look a bit more like the grassy terrain that we would be in. And looking online, I found this picture, which I think is exactly what I'm kind of going for. I'm not quite sure what game this is from, but it's basically the same thing, just with a bit more grass tufts. And the way we're going to build up these grass tufts is using these leaf pieces, as well as these brand new fern pieces, which I think look really cool. Now, normally when you play Pokemon games, there are text pop-ups that pop up on your screen to let you know what's going on. And when you're battling, you need some sort of input device, so I thought it would be cool to build up a few of these text boxes and make it look like we pulled this model right out of the game. And although I could pretty much build a little Pokemon and call it a day here, even if I did, that wouldn't really be much of a battle, would it? So while I build up another one of these bases, I think we should take a look at our next model. Believe it or not, War Thunder is one of the most popular games on PC and console right now, with over 70,000 active players per day. If you've somehow not heard of War Thunder, it's a game all about intense PvP, battling between loads of tanks, planes, helicopters, spanning 10 nations, across so many time periods from the 1920s to today. And considering LEGO don't normally make military-based sets, I thought this would be cool to give a go. But turning our attention to the base, we need to decide where we're going to base our model. Are we going to be on the ground, the sea, the sky? Well, I think the easiest one would definitely be the ground vehicles. There's loads to choose from, and we can pick any of these tanks fighting each other. But I do think there would be a slight issue with scale. I'd want to do something with minifigures, and like I say, LEGO don't do this kind of thing, so minifigures would be really hard to get a hold of, and I don't have anything in terms of custom options. And like I say, that's the easy model. I like a bit of a challenge. This led me down the route of planes, and one of the best planes in the game is an F-16. So I thought we could make 2 F-16s flying in the sky, dogfighting with one another over the sea. And to do that, we're going to need a massive base, probably one of the biggest bases we've ever made on one of these videos. And even though the plans for this model is to make this smaller than minifig scale, I still want to build this to a scale where this model will be significantly substantial. And well, I think this'll do. But as we now have a base for these planes, I want to start on the ocean. I'm going to start by laying out all of these blue tiles to give the illusion of the water, with the occasional breakup of light blue ones. That way, even though this is a flat surface, it can kind of try and look a bit more like waves. And I'm also going to put these jumpers where I eventually want the planes to be. I'm thinking I want the planes one after another, hence why I've made such a long base. But I think I want the back one shooting the front one, and the front one pulling up as if it's trying to dodge the fire. But to do 2 planes fighting each other, we're obviously going to need some planes. And I'm going to admit, I'm not the best at building planes considering the fact I've only built one, and that set was the Creator 3-in-1 set from 2010, so it's been a while. So first I needed to do some research, and after looking at loads of pictures of the F-16, as well as a lot of LEGO models that people have made online, and after finding this one by Abracada Brick, I thought this model would be a great starting point. And after using the same core and changing a lot of flat sections to try and match the real jet, we have this. But it's like I said before, I want 2 of these planes fighting in the sky. So we're going to need to build another one. And although I think it would be really cool to just make another one of these, I think it would be cooler if we made one of the customizable camos from the game. And although these camos are really cool, I think I want to make something a bit more realistic. So I'm going to go with this desert camo that I found and build this F-16 in tan and dark tan pieces. And while I'm getting on with that, I'd love to tell you more about the game itself. There's so much more to War Thunder than I mentioned here, from the X-ray view damage so you can see exactly what happened, so you can learn from your battles and not make the same mistakes again. And that's not even mentioning the stunning graphics and the realistic damage. And the best part about all of this is the game is free to play. You don't need any specialized hardware to play the game, and it's optimized for low-end machines as well, so everybody can have a good time. If you did want to try the game, this video is sponsored by War Thunder, so you can follow the link in the description below, and not only will that take you to the game's download page, but it'll also give you a massive bonus pack, including 100,000 silver and the exclusive Eagle of Valor Valor skin. Not only that, you'll get 7 days of premium account, and that's just not for new players. If you haven't played the game in 6 months or more, you'll also get this pack. So no matter your playstyle, console or PC, War Thunder will have a role for you. Follow the link in the description below and check out War Thunder. And thanks again to War Thunder for sponsoring this video. But to get these planes off the ground, I'm going to use my new display stands to give a bit more energy. They're laser cut from clear acrylic and are exactly what we need for this model to bring it a bit more life. But moving on to another game that I'm a massive fan of. Spider-Man PS5 is one of the best games on the console, and I've said it in the past and I'll say it again. The Insomniac Spider-Man 1 game is one of the best Spider-Man stories to exist. I really like the fresh feel, but calling back to a lot of childhood nostalgia from things like the 90s show and the 2002 Spider-Man movies.
That totally worked last time.
But of course, these days, with a successful game, there's inevitably going to be a sequel, and although in my opinion not as good as the first one, I really like what they've done with characters like Harry and Venom. And it was only going to be a matter of time before I wanted to build something from this game. And although there are several moments that I would love to depict, the one I want to do today is where Miles and the symbiote Spider-Man fight for the first time, and Peter rips the symbiote off of his body. And surely you know how this works by now, we're going to need a base. Now I want to do this base again differently to how I would normally do them. Normally when we build a floor, we build it bottom to top, incorporating the black plinth around the edge to make it look a bit more professional. But with this model, I want to do the black plinth first, with a few black plates in the middle with some tiles on top to make it look like water. And the reason I wanted to do this is so we can stack vertically and stack up a bunch of grey bricks using slopes to create cracks in a floor. And if we create this base at just the right size, it simply just falls right into place. And with all these studs that I have left on the base, we can build up a little wall and try and make it look more like the rundown Kraven base we see from the game. But the two main things missing from this model so far are the trees and the bell. And I'm not really one to do massive landscapes, but I want to get into it. I looked at a bunch of different designs for trees online, and after checking through multiple designs, I found this one, which are extremely well designed using this brand new leaf piece that's new for 2024. These pieces in bright green have only come in very select sets, which unfortunately has made them quite difficult to get a hold of and quite expensive. So remember to smash that like button to get this video seen by as many people as possible. But obviously, as this scene is depicting Peter finally releasing himself from the symbiote suit, we're obviously going to need loads of symbiote webs everywhere over this model. I've left a bunch of holes in the floor with modified plates so I can use these snake pieces to make it look like black symbiote is bursting from the ground, and also sticking to things like this bell that's destroyed over in the corner. But you may be wondering, what the hell are we going to do about minifigures? Because if you didn't know, doing the Insomniac Spider-Man games is quite difficult when it comes to LEGO, as the only minifigures that are available in legit LEGO form are two minifigures that are both Comic-Con exclusives, meaning they're extremely limited to get a hold of, meaning if you want them, it's going to set you back around $10,000. And I don't know about you, but I don't have that kind of money. So we have basically two options. We can either use the regular Spider-Man figures, which don't look bad on this model by any means, or we can use customs, and I'm going to use these customs sent to me by Corefig. These figures are awesome, and I think the reason they look so good is because they're matched to LEGO style perfectly. I did make a video over on my other channel, Tommy C Figs, that you can check out after this one, but adding these figures to the model is really going to complete the look. But now we finished our other models, I want to go back and find out how that Pokemon model was getting on. We finally have our two bases and our button layout, and I've even managed to create these stat boxes which I think will look really good above the platforms. But now that we basically have our model set up, you'll notice it's in a bunch of loose pieces. And because I want to build it as if it had just jumped out of the game, one of these platforms is going to need to be higher than the other, and we need to find a way to make these stat platforms float. Now we could just use different types of LEGO bricks, but unfortunately I think these clear bricks just look ugly half the time. And I think I'm going to use the same system that I used for the planes in our previous model, as they'll just unlock a little bit more customization. These stands are cut on my Xtool P2 and just simply click together. Now I designed these to mainly hold up minifigures, but they also work for small builds. And I really want to start incorporating them more into my models, because I seriously do think that these unlock a new dimension when it comes to building LEGO. Their modular design makes it really easy to incorporate into pretty much any LEGO build. But if you ask me, much more invisible than just stacking clear LEGO bricks on top of each other. And not only that, I feel like I finally come up with a design that I can actually release to you guys, in case you guys want to use these on your own LEGO models. These will be available soon over on TommyC.store, so go and make sure you sign up for the email list to know when they're released. But now I guess there's nothing left better to do than ask,
Who's that Pokemon?
Thanks again for watching this video. Big thanks to those who support me over on Patreon. If you want to build any of these models yourself, the studio files will be available over there. Remember to go and check out War Thunder, the sponsor of today's video, using that link in the description below, and I will see you guys in the next one.